Hi guys, it's the Wandering Hermit here. This is my 5th attempt at making this video for you over the last couple of days. So I hope this one goes well. You'll see I'm using my microphone, so I hope you can hear me a little bit better than on previous videos. Today I want to talk a bit about Magick as a practical tool, because here in the Northern Hemisphere we're on the run up to Samhain now, which next to Yule I think is my favourite time of year. We're only 16 days away now from Samhain, so I'm getting pretty excited, because Samhain I think is possibly the best time of year for any kind of magical working, be it internal work, path working, meditation, past life regression, shadow work, soul retrieval, those kind of things. Also for external manifestation work as well, because we're in that, we've passed that transition phase now. We're moving into the dark space of the year, using that rich death energy to clear away blockages in our lives, and internally and externally, getting rid of the old to make way for the new, clearing space for new dreams to take root and to manifest. So manifestation work is, it's really powerful at this time of year. So when it comes to magic and magical working, there are two types as far as I can tell from reading and talking to other practitioners and other such things. You've got your everyday magical working, which is just being, just living. Acting with an intention is a form of magic. So if I were to go out and I wear a bright coloured t-shirt, it's because I want to put across a certain idea. I want to put my energy out there using that colour. Whereas if I'm not bothered about that, then I'll wear muted colours. I'm not doing any magical workings today, so I'm wearing muted colours. Something as simple as that is an act of magic. Whereas the other type is spellcrafting, or ritual spellcraft or ceremony. That I see as a much more complicated form of magical working, because rather than just using your one symbol, i.e. your colour t-shirt in this example, in line with your will and intention, you're actually really setting up a sacred space in which to focus on that intention and that desired outcome, and you're working towards a particular goal. And depending on what that goal is, you may use things which correspond to that goal, that energy that you're trying to manifest. So it can be very simple, or it can be very intricate with different layers of symbolism and everything else. So a really basic idea of spell work, and one of the first spells that I ever did, in fact I think it was the first spell I ever did, was to contact a member of family who I hadn't seen for a long time. I didn't know where they were, I didn't know where they lived anymore, and I really wanted to get in contact with them. So what I did, I had a photograph of that person from many years ago, and I put it next to my own photograph, and I wrote a letter to that person telling them that I missed them and I wanted to see them, or wanted to hear from them at least. And I went out into the fields with the photograph and the letter. I wrapped it all up together, and I burnt it all together, and then let the smoke rise. And then as the smoke went off and the ashes blew away on the wind, I sent that wish for the person to contact me. And sure enough, within 2 weeks, after not hearing from them for years, within 2 weeks of doing that spell, they got in contact. I received a letter from them, and I was absolutely gobsmacked by it. That's just a really simple example of spell work. Alternatively, the more complex that you go, it's limitless, the amount of stuff that you can include in a spell. Previous sabbats we've used, deity correspondences, we've used plant and animal correspondences. We've used symbols from various different cultures, yeah, various different alphabets. We've got our magical tools that we arrange in a certain way. We've kind of gone a little bit ridiculous with the various levels of symbolism that we use for our spells now. But when it comes to ritual spell work, it can be as simple as just going out in a field and setting fire to a letter or a picture. But a lot of people choose to use the traditional tools of the craft, i.e. your wand or your staff, your athame, your chalice, and your pentacle, shield, or whatever it is that you use to represent the four elements. Spell working in that sense is actually really fun. I really enjoy doing that kind of spell work because you put a lot of thought into it, and it's almost like a work of art. So here's just a couple of basic bits for the kind of artistic spellcraft. Pardon me. So the first thing to do would be to center yourself. You can do that through short meditation, whether you do chakra meditation, whether you do conscious breathing, any of those methods that you use to really bring yourself into your own space. That's always the first thing to do whenever you're doing that kind of spell work. I think it's really good to then ground yourself as well. You can do that by imagining energetic roots coming out from beneath you, either from your root chakra if you're sitting down, or out from the soles of your feet going into the earth and connecting to earth energy. I think in a video I saw recently, I think it was Alvine Green, mentioned that a method she'd been taught was to then allow that earth energy to come up through you and then spread out like branches of a tree, and then draw air energy down as well. I found that really interesting, so that's something I may try in my next spell. Once you've centered and grounded, you then cast your circle. Now your circle establishes the ritual space in which you're working, but it also creates a protective barrier to prevent any external negative influences from changing or interfering with the magical working. So I see casting a circle as quite important. Other people don't. It's not necessary. It's not essential, but it's something that you might want to try if you're a little bit unsure when you're doing your spell work. So you can do that by calling on the four quarters, i.e. the four cardinal directions: north, east, south, west. Each of those directions has a corresponding element: earth in the north, air in the west, fire in the south, water. Sorry, no, I got that wrong. Earth in the north, air in the east, fire in the south, water in the west. The east and west will probably be reversed. In fact, all of them may be reversed if you're in the southern hemisphere. I don't know. But here in the north, that's the way the cardinal points work. Each direction also has a different type of fey spirit attached to it. It also has a different animal correspondence, depending on your culture. In Native America, a lot of their cultures see north as associated with bison, east with the eagles, south with the wolf, west with the bear, that type of thing. It does vary from one culture to the next, so whichever one you're drawn to, or you may be drawn to many, you can take different animal correspondences from each of those and put them all together. There is no set way to do spellcraft. There's no set tradition that you have to stick to. As an eclectic pagan, I take little bits of everything that resonates with me. So if I see the serpent as corresponding to the east because of its wisdom aspect or its healing aspect, I'll use the snake for the east instead of the eagle, because that just resonates more with me. It doesn't matter what you choose, so long as it's true to you, so long as you can see the truth and the meaning in the symbols that you're using and the way that you arrange them. So once you've cast your circle and you've called the quarters to form your circle, you can call on ancestor spirits. That's a really good one. You can call on any deities that you associate with, or deities that correspond to what it is you're trying to achieve, to guide you. It's not good to pray to them necessarily. It's not really a good thing to ask for their help, because we are creating deity. We're not we're not deities, but we're creative beings. We are godly in that sense. So to ask for the assistance of other gods is a little bit disingenuous, considering we should be self-sufficient beings. That's why we were created. But you can certainly invite them to join you and bear witness to your work, and to guide you and perhaps lend energy to the working. That can work as well. Now the tools that you use, if you're like following the traditional Wicca system, which I do kind of try to incorporate into my practice, the athame, or the knife, the ritual knife, corresponds to the east and air. Sharpness of mind, that's what that represents. The wand in the south, which is direction of will, wand or staff. The chalice in the west represents water, that's the vessel of emotion. And in the north you can use anything that represents the earth, so you can use a crystal, you can use a pentacle, you can use a dish or bowl, like not like a bowl, but like an offering bowl, any of those things. I typically use stones or representations of earth deities for my northern tool. Those tools are just focusing objects for you to establish a firm foundation for your intention for the magical practice. You could see them as energetic amplifiers. It's good to arrange those in their cardinal directions as well. So if you can align your magical space to the 4 points, and you arrange the tools in the section of that circle that corresponds to that direction, that really amplifies and draws that energy in. Beyond that, everything else is to fine-tune the spell itself. So you can incorporate combinations of different crystals to incorporate certain elements into the practice. So if it's a fertility spell, then you can use stones that correspond to the goddess to increase the intention for fertility. But you can also incorporate other things such as love stones, or stones corresponding to wealth, like gold stone and things like that, so that you are not only fertile but also prosperous. You can establish a bit of a nest egg as well. There are ways of fine-tuning the spell rather than just a general intention. You can really sort of hone it to exactly what, well, not exactly, but as close to it as you possibly can. These are just various methods, but none of it is essential, as I've stated already. Your spell can be as simple as just going out and throwing a stick into the ocean. So long as you do it with an intention, so long as you have a clear outcome in mind, then anything you do can be regarded as a spell. So I hope this gives you a couple of ideas of what you might want to do this Samhain, because as I've said, I'm going to be setting up and planning a spell for the Sabbath itself. So I may write that down. I will probably have photographs of my Samhain altar. I always do. For the last 2 years I've put Samhain altar pictures up, so I'll be putting those up shortly, once Sabbath's out the way, once I've done it. But I will share that with you, and I may actually write out the spell that I perform and put it up there, just to give you a couple more ideas. But I hope this has been helpful anyway. For now, I've rambled on for 15 minutes, so I will bid you all a very good day or night wherever you are in the world, and I hope you have massive fun planning your spells and conducting your spells, and I bid you all a very, very pleasant, enjoyable and fruitful Samhain Sabbath. So for now, that's the Wandering Hermit. I bid you all farewell, and may your gods be with you.